everyone, I'm Cheryl Butler, and you're listening to the Mighty Mommy's Quick and Dirty Tips podcast, which will help make your life as a parent a little bit easier and a lot more fun. Welcome! Today's episode is number 542, 5 Ways to Curb Back-to-School Anxieties, because although this time of year is exciting, it's also a mixed bag of emotions for kids as they worry about the unknown facets of the upcoming school year. Heading back to school brings on such a mixed bag of emotions. Families are winding down from carefree summer vacation mode, where plenty of downtime is the norm. Weeks of laid-back summer living can be fun, but many families also admit to needing a break from the 24/7 togetherness. Kids are looking forward to seeing their school friends once again and beginning their new classroom adventures. But transitioning from the non-structured, lazy days of summer into the rigidity of the new school year can be tough. Some anxiety about returning to school is typical in kids. Will they like their new teacher, have friends to play with at recess or sit with at lunch, and be able to handle their new grade's workload? For most kids, new school year worries will gradually disappear as they get acclimated to their routines and their environment. But the weeks leading up to and beginning to the new school year can be a stressful time for the whole family. Here are 5 tips to help lessen the anxieties of transitioning back to school. Number 1, prepare ahead. One reason kids feel anxious about the start of a new school year is that they get thrust into a rigid routine without any warning. Keeping late night hours, sleeping in, and grabbing something crumpled to wear will not make the grade once school starts. Although you may want to soak up every last bit of your current summer lifestyle, gradually switching gears from those late-night movie binges to a bedtime routine similar to what you'll be practicing when school starts will have huge benefits for you and your kids. So plan to initiate your school routines 2 to 3 weeks before the first day of school. This can be as simple as getting them to bed 15 minutes earlier for a few nights, gradually increasing the time to half an hour, and eventually landing at your child's typical school bedtime. Once school starts, your child won't feel such a dramatic shift in their sleep schedule. This applies to wake-up time as well. Just like with bedtime, begin gradually moving wake-up time earlier. The weeks leading up to the start of school are a great time to reestablish the ritual of choosing outfits the night before, and anything that you can do to get your family back into their fall routine, like meal planning, readjusting to school lunch items, and reestablishing regular laundry days. Before vacation ends, this is going to take the edge off of those back-to-school jitters. Number 2, talk about it. As we cruise out of summer and into school life, it's easy to focus on all the fun that we've had just building sandcastles and splashing in the pool. But many of us don't make the time to check in with our kids. As summer winds down, it's a great time to ask them how they feel about the upcoming school year. A good friend of mine shared how her family prepares for each new school year by having a back-to-school family meeting. I know, it may seem corny, but she's been doing this for over a decade now. And her kids have come to look forward to it because it helps them work through potential problems and come up with plans to solve them. The gist of this meeting is to gather together with all electronic devices turned off and discuss a few topics like these: highlights of the summer, reestablishing the school year routines and chores, homework policies and rules, back-to-school supply and clothing shopping, concerns for your child's safety and well-being for the new school year, and guidelines and etiquette for social media use. An open forum for your child or your children to share their thoughts and concerns. It's also a good idea to discuss bullying and emphasize that you're always available to listen, no matter what problems they may face throughout the school year. Break down into one-on-one talk time for any delicate matters that your child wants to discuss in private. After the family meeting, which can last anywhere from 1 to 2 hours, my friend and her family celebrate the end of summer by going to their favorite restaurant for dinner and then getting ice cream sundaes for dessert. Number 3, and I love this one, create a worry list. I've always been a list person. When I write something down, I have a tangible reference of things that I want to accomplish in the course of a day. I can keep track of my long-term goals, better manage my finances, streamline my grocery shopping, and I can reflect on what I'm grateful for. Written reminders help me to organize my life. Because of that, I tend to embrace ideas that involve physically writing things down. Writing is a tool that has always helped me to be a better problem solver. Mel Robbins, best-selling author of The 5-Second Rule, suggests a helpful way that kids can get a handle on their worries, creating a list. She suggests working with your child to list everything they worry about. Writing your worries on paper can actually get them out of your head and make them seem less scary. Once the worry list is created, the next step is to place a positive or a happy thought next to the worry, and eventually your child will reach for the good thought to replace whatever he might be worried about. So here's some examples. A worry thought might be, Mom will forget to pick me up from school. The happy thought, Mom and I are laughing as we stop for ice cream on the way home. Worry thought could be, I won't be able to understand Algebra 2. Or the happy thought can be looking at a test with an A grade. And another example of a worry thought, I won't make any friends at my new school. The happy thought, being invited to hang out with the guys on my soccer team. My youngest daughter is entering the 8th grade this year, and she's nervous about the cliques that might form and afraid she'll be thrown into another drama and gossip-filled year like she experienced in the 7th grade. We spent some time this past weekend creating her worry list and combating worries with happy thoughts. This was such a cathartic exercise for her, empowering her to feel a lot more ready for the first day of school. It was also a great way for the two of us to connect, because she was more open in sharing her feelings because she was writing them down. Number 4, back to school reads. One of my favorite ways to spend time with my kids when they were younger was to read to them. Our sacred nightly ritual was to snuggle up on the couch and read bedtime stories together. Some nights they could barely keep their eyes open during the story. At other times, they excitedly asked questions about the characters and could easily pretend they were romping through the 100-acre wood, holding Pooh Bear's hand. It was a magical time for them and for me. As an avid reader, now that my kids are older, I'm thrilled that most of them are hooked on books like me. I believe part of that is due to the book clubs that they had in school. For the 20 years I've been involved in our school's PTO, I've been a huge fan of the Scholastic Book Club. The wide variety of books in all genres truly offers something for all kids' interests. In 12 books to ease back-to-school anxiety for all ages, Scholastic recommends some great reads that will fit the bill for all school kids. And this summer, my daughter and her friends read Augie and Me, 3 Wonder Stories. It's the story of Augie Pullman, an ordinary boy with an extraordinary face, which is now a major motion picture starring Julia Roberts. They really enjoyed it. And tip number 5, just breathe. Today, one of the popular ways that busy, anxious folks are keeping their cool is to practice the art of mindfulness. Mindfulness is the ability to be fully present and aware of where we are and what we're doing without getting wrapped up in what's going on around us. One way to get yourself into the mindfulness zone is to focus on your breathing. As simple as this may sound, for many of us, and myself included, this takes some practice. Our minds are constantly moving in 100 different directions, and we don't know how to purposefully quiet them down. But by paying attention to the breath, deep breath in, slow exhale out, we cultivate a resilience that allows us to be present when a stressful situation arises. This can be an extremely effective tool for kids who suffer from anxiety or who may be nervous when faced with a new situation like taking a new bus back and forth to school. In Psychology Today's 5 anxiety-lowering strategies for children, breathing is the first recommendation. Deep breathing or belly breathing can help center your child. It's something you can practice with them. Best part about practicing belly breathing is that it can be done anywhere, at any time, and there are many examples of this wonderful technique on YouTube. Soon, it can become a go-to remedy that your child and you can reach for and use before his anxieties escalate. Does your child struggle with back-to-school anxieties? Share your thoughts in the comments section at quickanddirtytips.com/mighty-mommy, or you can visit the Mighty Mommy Facebook page or Twitter. And you can also email me at mommy@quickanddirtytips.com. Please visit my family-friendly boards at pinterest.com/mightymommyqdt. For more tips and hints, listen and subscribe on Apple, Spotify, Google, Stitcher, or wherever you get your podcasts. Before I leave you, here's a quick preview of what's coming up next week. Right around the corner is a really fun holiday that many people might not even know about, Grandparents' Day, and it's celebrated on Sunday, September 8th this year. In the next Mighty Mommy podcast, we'll be talking about how the really cool ways grandparents can support our kids and how we can keep them involved no matter where they live in relation to their grandkids. I hope you'll subscribe to the Mighty Mommy podcast through your favorite platform so you'll get notified when this episode is available. I'm wishing your family an easy and exciting transition back to school this year. As always, thanks so much for listening, and until next time, happy parenting.